Every night is game night after hours. Our continued conversation with Ignacy Trzewiczek. Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome back to Every Night is Game Night, to the After Hours section. So this is the part of the pod where we put conversations that don't quite fit into the normal episodes. This is where kind of the outtakes, but plus we get into a lot of non-board gaming related topics. We let our hair down a little bit. You know, these are natural conversations, you know, completely off the cuff. We talk about a lot of crazy stuff. We talk about Russian hackers. We talk about PayPal, Jumanji, all sorts of random conversations. So I definitely did not want to exile this part of the convo to the cutting room floor. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy our continued conversation with Ignacy. And also, Ignacy is on Board Games Insider, which we haven't had a new episode in a little while. Just a crush of busyness, I imagine.
There is a long story that we will cover in the Insider. The long story being short, Steven had to move to Florida, and I got my Skype account hacked by some Russian hackers, and I lost my Skype account for a couple of weeks. It was basically a mess, and then the Christmas. So yes, we'll start the new season in January. But there was lots of things happening in the past few weeks.
Oh, so Russian hackers aren't only just active politically; they're also active in board games. Oh no!
Absolutely, all my business partners had a pleasure to watch some.
Oh no!
Some links. No, that was a mess. Of course, it sounds fun, but it was a mess. I lost my account, but I'm back. And that's why we can record now. But for the few weeks, it was very difficult time for me.
Between Russian hackers and PayPal, it has not been a big year for Portal on the business side.
We had some troubles.
Is the PayPal thing resolved?
Yes, it is all sorted out already. Yes, it was a few months of a very difficult time for us, and when we got no access to our PayPal account. But finally, all the first Martians copies were sent to the pre-orders, and then PayPal, after many weeks of sending us proofs of games sent, finally unlocked our account. So yes, it was a very difficult time, but it's gone.
Could you actually, now that I think about it, I think you said that on Board Games Insider. I don't know if we talked about it on our show. Could you run down really quickly what happened? I'm betting that people who are Kickstarter people or whoever else would like to know so that they can avoid nonsense like that in the future.
Absolutely. That's why I went public with this topic on Board Games Insider, to warn all the small companies and young entrepreneurs about the policies of PayPal. So what happened? We started pre-orders campaign for the first Martians, and the campaign was super successful. We gathered lots of funds, lots of money in a very short time, and we were contacted by PayPal that they see a lot of money coming to our PayPal and what this money is for. So we answered that we are running pre-order campaign for our game, and these are pre-orders. And PayPal said, so you are not delivering the product yet? We said, no, we are not delivering. It is just pre-orders. We are gathering funds. And then PayPal said that they are closing our account and they will not release these funds until we will deliver the product, because PayPal said until the product is not delivered, we cannot access this money. And as I said in the Board Games Insider and in many other interviews, for the big company like Portal Games, it was of course a pain, but basically we were able to produce the games anyway and deliver the product and then unlock the money. But for the younger companies and for the smaller companies, it may be a very difficult situation, because you are gathering money to produce the game, and this is exactly the case of the Kickstarter. And then suddenly it happens that you don't have access to this money because PayPal is blocking them and says that it will release the money after the product is delivered. If you're a young company that has no funds, you will not produce this product, and therefore you will not unlock the money, and this will be a mess. And so it is a very strange policy, and all the young companies should be aware of that if they are running pre-orders or Kickstarters, they should be aware that they may have a problem. After I learned more about these issues, I learned there was more board game companies who struggle with that, and one of the most famous was Leather Games, and the designers of the Vast board game. So yes, it is a case, and be aware of that.
Wow. So did that get I mean, I know you kind of got finished the shipment, people got the games and everything. We'll get to that definitely in a second. But you talking about maybe investigating alternatives or doing something else with that? Is that even possible?
We were really not happy with how people approach that, because their policy is, as they say, to protect the customer, that the product will be delivered. And I had a very high-level discussion with the PayPal managers. Portal Games is a company on the market since 1999. It is 18-year-old company with the huge portfolio of games. We are not some, crazy dude who will get the money and steal them. We have our reputation, and PayPal telling us that they are protecting customers in case of we run with the money to Hawaii is just ridiculous. And
Did they say that? It's like,
no, but that was like, please provide us your. They wanted all our bank account data and all our reports.
Lord.
Like it was like they were trying to get some of the analysis of my company basically. And after we delivered the product, still the process of releasing the funds took more than 8 weeks. It was still 2 months of struggle. They were asking us of the reports from the game that were shipped and delivered. We presented them all the UPS files, and then they asked us to match every single entry, every single wire transfer that made it to the PayPal with precise tracking number of the package. So we had to match 3,000 transfer with 3,000 packages. It was a disaster. And then they were analyzing it like. I strongly want to say to everybody that be prepared for problems. If you are having pre-orders, it may be a problem for your company.
Okay. All right, but all's well that ends well. So
Yeah.
Portal lives on.
Yes. As I said, like for a company like me, it is not a big problem, because we were not running pre-orders to get money. We were running pre-orders to get our fans excited and to provide them the game before the release. Yes, it was our way to play with our fans. But if you're a young company who wants to produce the product and needs these funds, it is a game over before even it started, right? And this is terrifying for me.
All right. So before I let you go, though, we were talking before, and you mentioned that you had taken your daughter to see Jumanji. So I'm curious, because I have a feeling I'm going to have a lot of Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in my future with his kids' movies. So tell me a little bit about how you enjoyed Jumanji.
I absolutely loved it, and I loved it on two levels. So first of all, it's a quite funny action-packed movie. So there's what's not to like, but part of me was just watching my daughter, who was sitting next to me, and she was so excited. It was amazing as father and daughter seeing her being that excited. Like she was really screaming at some points and cheering, etc. So I was blown away on two levels: watching a movie and watching my daughter being excited about the movie. There's one complaint I have to do publicly, and I have to do it.
Yeah, you
at
have
the
to
very
do it.
beginning. Yeah, the very first scene of the movie. I don't want to spoil too much, but the very first scene of the movie, the character says, "A board game? Who plays board games these days?"
Oh, no way. No way. Did you just stand up?
Out in the cinema, stand up and says, "I play board games." I didn't do it to embarrass my daughter, but basically,
But you wanted to. You wanted to.
Yeah, but of course I'm making joke, but this is a funny thing that because the character gets the board game, yes, and he looks at the board game. Who plays board games these days? I play.
And you make and you sell it.
Yeah. On the serious note, a very very funny movie, and I strongly recommend to go with the family, like to family environment and seeing kids enjoying the movie. This for all the parents is an amazing moment.
What are some of your favorite kids movies, since we're on the topic?
I watch on Netflix with my daughter Troll Hunters. Amazing show. Of course, I watch with her Jumanji, the older one, And of course, we went with her 2 weeks ago. It was Star Wars, new Star Wars, and it was when the Star Wars were starting, the opening scene with the, the music started, and me with my kids, very moving moment. Like, I was a kid watching the Star Wars, and now I am a parent, and I have my kids, and I watch with them Star Wars. Super, super moving moment. I strongly recommend with parents to go with the kids, and this is something to be remembered for years.
All right. So, I think that we've hit all the topics. We've gone around the world.
I can talk about board games all day long. I'm super happy. Everything is okay. Everything is sound and safe.
Yeah.
No fires, crashes, no problems.
I actually had a blue screen happen during one of my recording podcasts. I don't know if that's ever happened to you and Steven, where you just blue screen.
I had one once. I was recording on the iPhone because I had the problem with my PC, and somebody called me in the middle of the recording. That was very bad as well.
Oh.
It happens. Now I always, when I record on my iPhone, I learned my lesson, so I'm recording in a flight mode.
Okay. Yes. No, that's definitely, you got to do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Awesome. Thank you very much, Ignacy. I'll see you around. Take care.
Thank you, sir. Have a good 2018. Bye-bye.
Absolutely. You too. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. Later, everybody.